Hi all. So welcome back. So in the last session we discussed about few methods around web element interface where we saw how find element works and Selenium and how do we perform actions using find element. So in that we basically saw about send keys method. Okay. And today we'll be going around few more methods around web element interface. And so we'll try with few more methods and we'll try to understand how those methods work. So let's quickly get started. So for that, I'll be referring my Selenium document notes basically. So up till now, what we saw was we had how to launch the browser, how to maximize the browser, and what we need for setting up the browser basically. Okay, so we communicated with two elements that were the name text box and the email text box, and we did a send keys operation onto that. Also we saw how to hard code. Also we saw how to stop the execution of a script for a set of interval of time, and also we saw that how to close the browser instance. Okay, so let's quickly jump on to this. So the next method is click method, which is, let me show you click method. So if you, that's quite simple. That determines that if you want to click onto something, you'll use dot click method. So let me go around here and let me hit the submit button. So we have input type is equal to submit input. So here I have one element, tool C, and if I click submit, so what should happen? You should see this message. Okay, so let me go on to my script and write. So just stop the video and try to write it on your own. Driver dot find element. Sorry, find element. And inside what we give, it accepts locator as the argument. For locator, we use by dot css or xpath or whatever. So I'm writing xpath by dot xpath with the string as the argument. I'm passing the xpath here. Let's see what is this. This is nothing, but we'll save this. Let's say submit btn. What will be the type? Pause the video and think about that. So the type will be of web element type. Web element type. Sorry, E will be in capital. It's case sensitive. Okay, so now we have grabbed the element, just nothing, simply submit btn dot click. So let's execute the script and let me run this. Run as simple Java application. So this will open it here, enter Rishabh, and then we can see this success form has been submitted. Success, the form has been submitted successfully. This will close. Okay, so this was simply around how to use click method. Let's move on to the next method here. What is it? So the next method here, if we see, it's clear. I think we use clear into the script. If you see, I showed, yeah, dot clear we have already discussed. So let's move on to the next method. What is get text? So this is the most famous question asked, how to get the, this is the most basically in UI testing, getting a text of the element is the most common scenario in each of the tool, if you say. So validate around what the attributes or what the text you are displaying onto the UI. So that plays an important role. So let's understand this, and this is quite pretty much simple. So for that, let me check around this. So we have this wallet text, let's say inspect what is the tag h5, and now we'll see how to write this. I'll write, no, I'll not use XPath. Basically we can just simply do this as well, that double slash h5, this will give you, but let's use tag name here. Okay, simple driver dot find element, then again it accepts locator as the argument, and locator of are present inside the by, which is a static class. Sorry, yeah, which are static methods, so we'll use them calling the class name dot method name by dot, what is the, now we'll use tag name, and inside tag name just pass the tag name with string, that is h5. So this will get you the, let's say I give this name as h5 ele element. Okay, and what will be the return type of this? Simply web element will be the return type of this. Okay, now what we can do is h5 ele dot get, we have so many of them. We have, so what we know, what we want to use is get text. Double click onto this, and what will be the return type of get text? Any text will have what return type? It will basically have a return type of string. So let's quickly capture that as a string. So string, let's say text is equal to, now let me quickly print this. So I'll write CISO control space enter. This is a shortcut for writing system.out.println in Eclipse basically. So let me run this, and I'll stop the execution to basically 2 seconds. So this should print here in the console the text. Let's first see what should be printed. It should print this. This is a demo e-commerce web application. Okay, so let me run this. This has opened here. So I click on submit and close, and this you can see it's displaying this is a demo e-commerce web application developed using Angular 5 to help QA Click Academy students to learn Protector framework from testing Angular application. The same can be seen here. This is a demo e-commerce web application developed in same as well. Okay, so this is quite pretty much clear. Okay, so this is how we get the text of an element. We'll discuss in deeper scenarios how to loop around the elements and all in the coming lectures. So let's move on to the next element. So what is this? This is get attribute. The get attribute, as we know, these are what these, let's say, let me, yeah, this one has a perfect example. So input type, so this is what a class is, a attribute. This is also an attribute, this is also an attribute, and this is also an attribute. Okay, so let me quickly write the XPath for this. Pause the video and write it yourself. Double tap input at the rate id is equal to, and what is the id here? Id is example input password 1, example input password 1, and one square bracket, control A control C. And now let's move on to the next. What we'll write here, simply driver dot find element by dot xpath I have written, and just paste the xpath here, and now just save, put a semicolon here. What is that? That was password. Okay, okay, okay. I'll write pwd text field, and what will be this of type? Again, just remember this will be of web element. Sorry, E is in capital letter. So okay, again, now what you'll do, pwd text field dot get attribute, and which attribute do you want, you need to pass in the string as a string. So I need basically placeholder, let's say. So I'll write placeholder here, since if we confirm here, we have an attribute of placeholder here as password. So this should give us password as the output. Okay. So I will do this and I'll save this as the placeholder. Save this as placeholder, and the return type will be string itself. Okay, placeholder. And if I go on to here, it says type of string, so that's valid. Let me again write this CISO tool space, hit enter and write place holder, the variable that we are referring to. Okay, let's again run this as Java application. So this should print password here. And okay, entered Rishabh, clicked on submit. Now this will close and we can see the password is being printed here. Okay, so if you want to validate something around more, let's say I'll give the attribute as type. So this will also password but in small letters. Clearly see this is in capital letters, P is uppercase, and here it is lowercase. So let me quickly go and do that also. Sorry, just nothing. Instead of this, we'll write get placeholder as what? Get attribute of type. Let's run this up quickly and see the execution. So now this has been clicked on submit. Now this will close and this is printing password where P is in lowercase in the starting. Okay. So I hope you got this. Quite easy, quite handy, and nothing special about that. Okay. So next is displayed method. Sorry, get size. Oh, sorry, get CSS value. Get CSS value. So let's bring it up on that. Get CSS value. Let's say I'll go with which element. Let's say I'll go with, we already have the email element, correct, in our script. We have email text box, so I'll use that same variables. So that is what I was trying to teach you that time, that why we are saving this as a variable. So now I'm handy to use this variable and perform any actions on this. So let's say email text box. Okay, txt. What is that? Email text box dot get css value, and we get the css value. What, let's say I want the font dash size of this. We have multiple css values, so we can refer the doc for that. I'll use for font size here, and simply what I can do is directly do a CISO instead of saving it. Okay, so this is up 1 2 3 and we go here. So this is of 16 pixel. Okay, so this is the CSS value of this. Let's see what font family is this text is using. So simply give font dash family, save this, and we have again this open, clicked on the web submit button. Now this will close, and it is using these many font families, these as the fonts. Okay, font. So these are the CSS values. So we don't generally use this up generally quite often now. So but this, since this is a method, so I have covered this up. Okay, so now let's see another method, that is get size. Okay, so let's see get size method. Where is that? This is the method. So simply find that element and get the size of that. Get height and dimensions. Get width. So let's say what is this? Let's say I'll put this up. Sorry, this was div na. Okay, so what I have done here is simply see dot jumbotron was giving me four matching nodes. Okay, so I have bifurcated that onto the basis of the tag names. I'm saying that give me the div that has a class name of dot jumbotron. So this is giving one of one matching node. And what is this? We already know this is a CSS selector. So control A, copy this. Let's move on to a script, and again driver dot find element by dot this time CS. Oh, sorry. By dot CSS selector, pass the CSS selector here, and now what we'll do, save this element, let's say banner ele, and what will be the type? This will have a type of, as we already know, web element. Sorry, there's a typo here. Web element. Okay, now what we do, banner ele dot get size, so which is of dimension class. So if we save, let's say save this as size, and what will be the return type will be a dimension. So dimension is a class basically. Okay, import. Okay, this is, sorry, spelling mistake. Banner ele. What is the issue here? Oh, what is this? Okay, this comes like this. Quite strange for me as well. Size dot get height, and then size dot get the width. Okay, so let me save this into a variable. Height will, this will always be in integer basically. Let's say gist height. If we save this up, int, and same int w width is equal to size dot get width. Okay, let me do so control space enter, and let's say height is concatenate gist, sorry, what, let's print up height, and let's print it and see so is the variable name dth. Okay, let's save and run this. This will again click on submit. This will close now, and in the console we should see the height is this and the width is this. Okay, so this is about get dimensions class. And now let's move on to the next one, that is which method is displayed, is selected and is enabled. So is displayed. So for let's move on to is displays method. For that we'll see around, let's say, the email field itself. So we have the email text box. I'll copy this, simply I'll write CISO element dot is displayed. So this should return me a true. Let's run this up and see. This is the execution. This will now close and this returned. Okay, so that means this is displayed. So now let's move on to our next method, which is basically is selected. Okay, for is selected we need a checkbox basically. So we have this as a checkbox for reference here. So let's quickly input ID is this. So I'll quickly, we'll have to first click onto this and then verify that it is selected or not. Okay, so let me quickly do that. So we have a ID here, so let's quickly use the ID as well here. Okay, so for that what we'll do, set driver dot find element and by dot, this time we'll take ID directly and use this, save this as an element, let's say checkbox, and a checkbox, what is the type, web element is the type. And what we do now, check checkbox dot click. So click will click onto this, and now what we'll do, we'll just print CISO checkbox dot is selected. Okay, so this should return us true. And following that, what we'll do, we'll again click onto this checkbox so that we can display that if it is not selected, this should give us false as well. CISO, enter, and the same line here as well. Control C, Control V. Okay, after this I'll give a 2 seconds of wait so that we can validate. Control S. Let's quickly run this up. So here is the execution. This is selected true. This is selected as false. Okay, first it clicked onto this, this got selected, so it returned true, and this selected is false is displayed. So we have two true and one false. We have three boolean statements here. Okay, so let's see an example of is enabled, and finally we'll be able to cover up everything around this. So is enabled, for is enabled I'll use this radio button. Let me inspect this up. Again we have our ID, simple as that. Again, you can write the script if you want. So let me quickly do that. Driver dot find element by dot id again. Paste the id here. Now what we do, save this as an element. We give this as a radio ELE, and now web element and radio ELE dot click, and then CISO radio ELE dot is enabled. Okay, so this should return true. We'll have three trues, and after this false we have again a true as well. So let's run this up. Run as Java application. So this will click on student here. Okay, so this clicked on student, although that was fast, but this returned you as true. So this is what about is enabled in all methods of here of find web element. Okay, so in let's see what we have. So we have covered everything. So dot submit is simply as dot click, so you can use that onto the submit button. Okay, if the type is dot submit, if the type is of submit, then only we can use dot submit. That is the clarity here. So I will not cover today find elements because that would make the video very long, since you will have to practice around these as well. So in the next video we'll see about web element, and we'll see something around Java as well. Okay, so we have this collection, and also we'll see around something around Java as well. So okay, and thanks. So thanks for watching the video, and let's meet in the next lecture. We'll see about find elements method and how to iterate around those elements and what we can do. And for also we'll see something around Java as well. Okay. So thank you all. Great day, and let's meet on to the next lecture.